All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, Thanks, everybody, for joining tonight. My name is Trace Johannesson with Rockwall City Council, Place 4, and with me today is Clarence Jorif. Clarence, how are you doing today?
Not bad, not bad at all, Trace. Thanks for having me, brother.
I'm happy to. Happy to. Man, are you staying warm? What's the story over there where you are?
Well, once again, it's like plan to succeed versus planning to fail. I think you know my background in emergency preparedness. We got a kit that's ready for every possible scenario. So I pulled out the cold weather kit, which is the generator, the extension cords, the space heaters. So we were all ready to go. But luckily, we're on this side of town where we haven't had any issues at all. And that's also based on doing a lot of planning beforehand. We're co-located over here by the fire department and the emergency room, so we're on the same grid, so we should not lose electricity at all.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear it. I know a lot of folks here in town are not having the same luck, which is
Unfortunately,
unfortunate. But yeah, definitely seeing some weather like we've not seen before. So
but they're,
pretty
they're saying this is a
unprecedented.
10-year rush, though, so it's like every 10 years, and you plan to fail or you plan to succeed. So that's where planning is a very important part. Forethought.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Um, Tell you what, let's uh, let's jump right into it. Right? Why don't you talk a little about who you are? Who
Wow.
is Clarence Jorif?
How long do we have? Um, Clarence Jorif. Glad to say now, proud Texan, Christian, family man, husband, father of three, and proud to be a Rockwall resident. If you want to go all the way back, humble beginnings, mom and dad, my brother and sister, all of were born in Central America. So we have that Latino Hispanic background behind us. And the joke is in the family, I was the one that was born in New York, so I'm the American. So I make everybody legal. And I tease everybody now and then. I give mom a hard time, and I say that if they act up, I'm gonna throw them out. But it's all in good jest. It's all in jest. Uh, from the very beginning, I've been always been very civic minded, giving back. As many of you know, proud United States Army. So once again, the joke is, I know who my parents are. Started off military police down at Fort Hood, Texas. So Fort Hood is very near and dear to me. Worked my way through the ranks and joined CID Criminal Investigations. Worked my way through there, became a warrant officer, was sent overseas to the Netherlands, was over in the Netherlands for about 2.5 years, came back, was assigned to the Pentagon, and I protected DOD officials, namely Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense, both during our wartime back in 91 time period was Dick Cheney and Colin Powell. Uh,
Some pretty important folks. That's pretty incredible.
and I spent a lot of time with Dick Cheney, and I learned one thing from him, and I'd always been like that anyway. Don't ever ask me a question you don't want an answer to, because that's Dick. I mean, straight up, you are who you are. You represent yourself to be who you are. There's no facade behind it. You're an open book, and that's how people should be.
That's outstanding. So you were a warrant officer in the army and got to rub elbows with some pretty amazing leaders and patriots. Um, what would you do after that? What was next for you after the army?
Well, once again, it's the public servant mindset. I was offered the opportunity as a warrant officer to go over to Korea and spend a good year of my life. And it's like, yeah, no, I decided to get out. But in doing so, I applied to the Arlington County Police Department, the Prince George's County Police Department, and the Fairfax County Police Department, all in the Metro DC area, Fairfax being in Virginia, Arlington being in Virginia, and Prince George's being in Maryland. got hired by all three. But since I lived in Arlington, I wanted to do the community-based policing, wherein I could actually make an impact on the people that I met on a daily basis. Some of those people, you met them at their worst times. Some of those people, you met them at their best times. And my mindset there, as it's been through my whole life, is always to leave things better than I found it. So did that for about 20 months, but always looking ahead, chasing that next carrot. I had my paperwork in with the FBI, Secret Service, and Customs. FBI called first. I went through the whole hiring process with them. Secret Service called right after. But the nexus with the Secret Service was already there because while in protective services with all those DOD officials, I made a lot of contact with people that I knew. So it was an easier way for me to go. And ironically, the official interview that took 2 hours, the first probably hour of it was, hey, how you been? What have you been up to? Haven't seen you for a while. Hey, the last time I saw you, you were doing this and this and this. So it was just basically catching up with the guys. And a lot of those guys ended up being good friends and colleagues. So it was a very easy transition. So my first administration with the Secret Service started out in Washington, D.C., with the end of Clinton administration, the end of the first administration, running for re-election. So my administrations are Clinton 1, Clinton 2, second administration, GW 1, GW 2, Barack Obama 1 or Barack Obama 2, and then I finished up with President-elect Trump. But along the way, picked up a lot of specialties: polygraph examiner, computer forensics, emergency preparedness coordinator, pandemic coordinator. So a lot of these things are tools that I put into my toolkit and I've continued to use throughout my life. And luckily, my last assignment was here at the Dallas field office. And I pulled the plug in 2016 after my last trip to Grand Rapids, Michigan with President-elect Trump. So all I know is public service. All I know is about keeping people safe. But the one thing about keeping people safe is you got to keep yourself safe first to be able to take care of anyone else. So that's kind of like job one. But my whole life has been as a public servant, protecting people, guiding, providing knowledge, and utilizing the resources that I've acquired throughout a 34 plus year career, and using it for the betterment of myself, my family, and those around me.
Well, that's very cool. So, man, so you grow up, you go in the Army, you do your time, you come out, you continue serving in the federal government and make a great career out of that. And now you're back here in good old Rockwall. Did you stop there after the Secret Service, or did you keep doing other types of service and volunteer work?
It's a continual process. I don't know the word stop. Involvement with everything, and this goes back through even while in Secret Service. I acquired my master's in public administration, but the concentration was public safety and emergency preparedness. So unfortunately, a lot of stuff that we're going through here today, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. My first and true love is public safety. So when it comes down to talking about my brothers and sisters in uniform, that spans the gamut from police, fire, EMS, because throughout the United States, throughout the world, getting placed in these environments where you're in charge of a presidential detail, or at least the advanced detail, you have to be able to put everything in place, and you're responsible for everyone's actions, not only your own. Because as they say, you're only as strong as your weakest link, but at the same time, check, double check, recheck. That's all I know. So I enjoy it. I had the opportunity here to go back by the prodding of some people that I hold very, very near and dear to my heart, to go back and get my Texas Peace Officer certification. And how that works is, as a federal agent, you're not considered a peace officer here in Texas. So I had to go back. I had to take the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement examination. That's 250 questions of stuff that You study the book, you study the manual, you ask questions, and then the questions that pop up is like, that was nowhere near anything that I'd seen before. But luckily was able to do that. And once again, I continue to serve. Luckily, I'm over here at the Rockwall County Sheriff's Office, helping them out with some special projects and stuff. So the history or the saga continues.
Well, very cool. And I think on top of that, I might add that you also serve in the American Legion with me as an active member. And I know that two of your three daughters have definitely been involved in some of the stuff the Legion's doing. So I think that's great. Definitely leading by example in that regard. Why don't we jump into why you're running? Tell us about why you're running for Rockwall City Council.
The question is heartfelt for me because I don't see it as a popularity contest. I don't see it as another step in getting someplace. I see Rockwall as my home. I'm embedded here. My kids go to school here. Two were in the high school. One graduated last year, the oldest, Maya. Sydney's a senior this year. She's due to graduate in June. And the baby, Darby, she'll be starting middle school next year, go around, once we work out the logistics with this COVID stuff. So that's one. I'm a homeowner. Rockwall is the best place to raise a family and to live overall. Having lived down in the Austin area when I was on the Lady Bird Johnson detail, yes, Lady Bird was alive. She wasn't like Weekend at Bernie's. That lady touched us in so many ways. As the EMT on the team, which once again is another degree of learning, I'd go up and I'd visit with her, and I'd ask her and I'd read her body language. I'd say, "Mrs. J, how you doing today?" And in her southern drawl, she'd say, "Clarence, I'd sure like to see those girls today." Now, my girls aren't no little baby girls. So she'd sit there and she'd bounce those two girls on her lap for as long as she wanted until she got tired or it was time for her to take a nap. And it would heighten her spirits and make her feel great. And that's what it's all about. Making people feel good about themselves. It's about bringing to the equation or to this situation, this opportunity at City Council to make a difference based on my background, based on my integrity, based on the heart that I have as a servant to give back to the city of Rockwall and all of its citizens here. It's important to be someplace that you really want to be. Austin was okay, but as they always, you see the sides keep Austin weird. It was a little bit too weird. At first, when the missus started looking for where to move back to Texas, because we took that little jaunt out to LA, don't hold that against me. It was kind of like that 3-hour tour on Gilligan's Island. It's supposed to be 3 hours. It's supposed to be 3 years. 9 years later, we were finally able to get out of there and come back this way. The first place we looked at was over in Trophy Club. Wasn't a good fit. Just didn't feel right. She found Rockwall. She found the Builder Drees. And luckily, as I would travel from Los Angeles to assignments in D.C., the routing with American was always to find a layover in Dallas, change planes, and then continue to D.C. But sometimes on the way coming back, there would be a wide enough layover or I'd miss the flight going back to L.A., which gave me time to come and sit and talk and look around and figure out which was the right place for us to be. So she gets the credit for us being here in Rockwall.
Whatever it takes to get you here, I think it's great. So, and I like what you said about being
Go ahead,
about a servant. I like what you said about being having a servant's heart, right? Because that's obviously something that means a lot to me and a lot of our friends. A lot of us are involved in many capacities in the community, and so I like that quite a bit. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the things that you kind of define as your platform pillars, and you've written them down for me, and so why don't you want to roll into that? And
yeah, I do, but I want to caveat something that you just say there, a servant's heart. Servant's heart from many different facets, not just one thing. That servant's heart has been at the national, the state, and local level, providing community service in all of the communities that I've lived in. That's one. Um, it's also as wearing that uniform. I've had a chance to wear that uniform in three different veins, per se. I wore that military uniform that I'm very, very proud of. Granted, there's a lot more of me now than what used to fit into my uniform. But so there's a military uniform. There's that uniform as a police officer. It commands respect, but at the same time, the same respect that you give to someone, I respect and return from them. And then most of my career, I spent running around in plain clothes and in a suit and tie and the whole 9 yards. But it's continual. It's not here and there. It's always been a continuation. As far as community involvement goes, there's a group called the JCs, the United States Junior Chamber, and their two main pillars are community service and leadership development. I've held positions with them at the national level, at the state level, at the local level, and it's helped fortify what my parents instilled in me from a very, very young age. Why you got the Marine Corps cup up, dude? Anyway, that's all right. I love you, Matt. I love you. And I love my Marine brothers. I love my Corps. So that's that servant heart. That's the true servant heart of giving of yourselves and being in places where most would choose not to be, but we go willingly because we know what we're doing. So my pillars, there are three of them. Primarily, first one is public safety. My background in law enforcement, military service gives me the wherewithal and the knowledge to know of exactly what our public servants need. My extensive law enforcement background, I know public safety firsthand. Well, what is knowing public safety firsthand? I've been in the shoes of those men and women out there with them, shoulder to shoulder, doing what? Giving of myself to protect others. That's the bottom line. Same thing in the military. Why do we serve? To keep this country great and to provide for the citizens here so they don't have to go into harm's way. We do that on their behalf. My mindset with public safety is once I get to that city council position, and I, by the grace of God and with the votes of the voters out there, is to continue looking out for our public servants because they're the ones that are out there constantly for looking out for us, and they give them themselves selfishly. They give them themselves without thinking twice about what they do, but in their heart of hearts, they do the right thing. Don't get me started on some of these people that have done bad things that have put us in bad lights. That's that 1%. There's always that in any walk of life that you have. But the bottom line, always bad actors. I had a compliment paid to me the other day while going through this other background here with the sheriff's office. One of the investigators walks in, took the time and said, "Hey, I went through your total law enforcement background. I talked to places that you worked. There's not a person that says a bad thing about you. There's nothing in your records where you've ever done anything wrong. What's your key?" I do it based on two things: what's in my heart and what's in my mind. Bottom line, if those two things are congruent, you'll always choose the right thing and do the right thing for everyone involved. That's why I'm a public servant. That's why public safety is so important to me.
Well, it's certainly understandable given your background, and I think you and I agree that, yeah, public safety is key, and the folks who go and execute that public safety on our behalf deserve the utmost to show up all day, every day. So next up, talk to me about your thoughts on infrastructure as your second kind of platform pillar.
One of my favorite things when I first got here, specifically going over to the tax assessor's office to register my vehicles and such, there's a big map. There's a big map of Rockwall in that building. And when I first got here, I'd look at it and it's like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Oh, there's a few buildings here. Hey, this is about where I live right now. Well, guess what? That's not the Rockwall today. The Rockwall today is a vibrant, growing community. We're not stagnant. We're constantly adding new families. And in adding those new families, we need to make sure that a couple things take place. The infrastructure is in place to be able to go to and from their homes, and at the same time, making sure that the necessary items, roads, sewer, electricity, you name it, are in place to support that. But it's not just the families alone. It's going to lead me into my third item, but hold on for a second. Businesses. Businesses are the lifeblood of Rockwall. The small businesses, of which I am a small business owner, the medium-sized businesses, the large businesses. We all need to work together so that everyone's happy, has the right to do what they feel that they need to do within limits and within regulation, but at the same time to grow and to benefit on their own behalfs.
So you said you want me to hold off on talking about business development as your third
Well, I can
pillar?
segue right into that now because I think I'm there.
I think you are too, and I'm glad you brought that up because I know that some of our own, our fellow small business owners here in town, want to know things like, hey, how can the city help small businesses prosper here in Rockwall? I realize this is outside of your realm as far as city council, but how do we talk about school mentorship programs in ROTC and small business owners speak to local students? So I'll let you kind of talk on the business development angle.
It is out of my realm as having sit in the seat that you're sitting in now. But what I take in when I go to each one of these city council meetings and I listen to what's going on and I look at what issues you've addressed and talked to in the past, the bottom line is small businesses need the assistance of city government to be able to flourish. That's the bottom line. City government must be the driving force that helps facilitate economic development. Okay? Now, how does this economic development, economic growth work for Rockwall? Let's go back to the citizens once again. My research has shown, and I've heard it repeatedly over and over again, is we've had a property tax rate remain the same for the last 4 years. How is that possible? Everybody wants less taxes. Everybody wants less property taxes. But how is that possible? We still have to collect property taxes from our citizens, but that lessened property tax is made possible by the businesses. How is it made possible by the businesses? The sales taxes that they pay to be able to deliver services to our citizens helps reduce that tax base. The more businesses that we have contributing to that tax base will help us maintain and hopefully at some point in time get a surplus. I'm never going to say that our property tax is going to be zero, but it'll keep us low and moderate so that we can be able to continue to take care of our families. That's the bottom line there. Now, as a small business owner, what have I realized here within the first couple of days of getting to Rockwall? My first contact was with the Rockwall Chamber of Commerce. I'm not going to name names, but the prior president greeted me with open arms and said, hey, what can I do to help you as a new business? That's what they do every day to businesses coming in the door. The other one that has a big input in that is the Rockwall Economic Development Corporation. Well, who's that? 25 cents per 100 of tax dollars goes to the REDC. Why? That assists them in being able to acquire land tracts and being able to help business coming in, help reduce their tax base for a period of time, because I'm not one of these that's in favor of forever and ever and ever. But it gives them that leg up to become prosperous so that they can stand on their own and contribute to our tax base itself, thereby reducing the property taxes that are experienced by the citizens. COVID-19. I'm sorry. You got something?
No, go ahead. By all means.
COVID-19. A survey is out there that says 53% of businesses that are currently in business right now won't be due to COVID-19. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, and I give all props to the Chamber of Commerce. They reached out in innovative ways to the businesses and said, hey, what do you need? How can we help you? How can we help you within reason? My business, I have people coming in and out, in and out, in and out. And being a healthcare professional, I'm going to make sure to safeguard myself and those individuals. I was provided masks and I was provided hand sanitizer because a lot of my classes, I'm exposed to somebody for 4 to 6 hours. It's all about being safe because I know that I need to come back home to my family to make sure that they're safe. And the only way that they can be safe is me doing so. It's little things like that, which aren't really that little, but are big, that makes a big, big difference with businesses here. And if you look at they put out different postings. Hey, what can we do? We're doing this. We're doing that. We're promoting. I have nothing but my hats off to both the Chamber of Commerce and the EDC.
I'm glad to hear it. You know, the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation, is a great part of our community. To your point earlier about acquiring land and giving tax breaks for a certain period of time, because it falls right into our city's motto of a great place to live, work, and play. So live and work, right? So if we have good paying jobs here, we attract good families, and they can live and love a place that they where they work. And so I think it's a fantastic use of our funds.
And the big thing about that is it's nice to go into Dallas to see the sites, do this, support that economic infrastructure there. But when a person can just walk out of their own home in a local community, go down to the harbor, support those businesses there, listen to music, go to dinner, to go to the musical festivals that they have there, we keep it local. So by keeping it local, we keep those funds local also. That benefits everyone across the board instead of taking our money somewhere else to give to someone else. And it's a good thing to do so, but keep it local, keep Rockwall strong. Bottom line, keep Rockwall Rockwall.
I love it. And apparently Miss Gloria too loves it. A great place to live, work, and play. So, you know, we didn't really talk about this before we came on, CJ, but and I'll put you on the spot a little bit, but you touched on it earlier when you talked about, I think it was infrastructure and public safety. You touched on how you think about making decisions, which I think is a really useful thing. So when I, as a voter and a taxpayer here in Rockwall, think about whom I want to vote for, I want to understand their thought process. And that's one of the things that I try to do for folks, especially when we're on the record or on videos like this. I try to kind of think and talk out loud. I want people to understand how I think about solving problems. So with that being said, I saw this on your website earlier. Would you mind talking a little bit about, you know, Clarence's guiding principles, how you think about what framework does Clarence use to make decisions? Because I think it's really insightful into understanding your heart and your mind as a candidate and a potential future council member.
The thing about that is it comes down to morals. That's the bottom line. And my morals are driven by my Christian background and beliefs. Am I doing the right thing? Is it going to benefit others more than myself? It's that giving of self. Will it be in the best interest of all those involved? Now, when I say that, the other side of that too is conservative values. It's about doing the right thing when nobody else is looking. It's about, and something that was said to me by one of my mentors here, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. Those guiding principles allow me to look at the big picture, and I guarantee you from day one as your new councilman, I bring to the table the ability, the skills, and the knowledge to hit the ground running from day one. It's not a matter of, well, there are some things that I'll need to be brought up to speed on. There are some things that I am not all knowing, but guess what? I have 6 others of you to be able to count on to help provide guidance. But the thing about it is, and I say this, and once again, remember the words of Dick Cheney, don't ask me a question you don't want the answer to. I'm going to make my own decision when it comes down to it. I'm going to make it based on what's in my heart, what's in my mind, and what the facts say. The thing about that is 6 of you, like I said, 5 other council persons, and the mayor itself, that's one powerful team. And I know that being added to that powerful team, I'll make us even stronger. But it comes down to doing the right thing the right way all the time, no matter what.
I don't think you're going to find anybody in the city who's going to argue with doing the right thing all the time. So we can all probably get behind that. With that being said, I got a couple things here where folks can find out more about you, Clarence. Hey, who is Clarence Jorif? If you didn't hear it in the video, you want to read more about it, you can check him out at clarencejorif.com or on Facebook at Clarence Jorif 4, City Council Place 3. And go learn more, get informed, and cast your vote. Clarence, when is early voting, and when does the election happen?
Ironically, early voting is on my mom's birthday, so that's near and dear to my heart. April 19th to the 27th, and an actual voting election day is May 1st. As you saw there from my website, clarencejorif.com, there's a contact page. Please feel free. You got questions? Ask questions. When the Facebook page went up, I had a young lady hit me up and ask a question, and once again, it's straightforward. It's answering the questions that you need, and I'm not going to pull any punches. There's some things that I don't know, but I tell you what, I'm going to walk away. I'll get the answers, and I'll come back to you. It's not just lip service. The bottom line with me is actions speak louder than words.
I love it. I think you've shown through your actions a pretty clear pattern in life of service above self, and I think that's commendable. That's certainly something I relate to and respect quite a bit. With that being said, I encourage everyone to go learn what you can about Clarence, and please show up and vote in the municipal election. And Clarence, I sure appreciate your time tonight, and thank you for coming on here and talking with me. It's always good to talk to other good folks, and we get to hear what you're about. You know, you mentioned doing the right thing, and if you're elected, getting back to folks. This is kind of what we're doing right now. We're talking about how government works. We're relating to folks in a way to which they're accustomed, whether it be streaming on Facebook or YouTube or even, I got a Twitch feed going, no big deal. But it's all about how are we just being transparent and open and honest with our populace. So with that being said, any parting words for you before we end this bad boy at just over 30 minutes?
It's not about fanfare. It's about giving back to the voters of Rockwall what they deserve. And in me, I guarantee you, a public servant, a city councilman who's going to work for you. I can't say 24/7 because the missus and kids will kill me, but pretty darn near that, to making sure to answer. And that's why I say hit me up with questions to look out for your needs. Because bottom line, we need to stay united as one in Rockwall. So given that opportunity, I won't let you down.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Clarence, for coming on. And with that, we'll wrap it up and take good care, sir.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your time.